Hello, I'm taking on a challenge to beat every playable Nintendo published game. Welcome to the next episode. The next game is Game & Watch Manhole. Again. Game & Watch Manhole was the third game released in the new widescreen series, and, like Game & Watch Fire on the widescreen series, this one was also a remake. A remake of Game & Watch Manhole from the Gold series. Once again, I considered doing this remake along with the original game, but it just felt weird to introduce the new widescreen series that early on in the challenge. As a result though, I won't go into tons of detail since I've essentially already played this one before, so this one's gonna be short. Since we're getting to a point where they started to add a lot more unique characters to their games, we actually get some official artwork of this game that gives us a glimpse of just how silly this one is. The game truly is about dumb pedestrians walking across the street without looking down, and a poor fellow whose job is to hold up manholes in the sewers. While I mostly want to focus on any changes, let's quickly go over how this one works. In this one, you are playing as someone who has been tasked with making sure the pedestrians don't fall into the sewers below. These pedestrians come in from either the bottom right or the top left, and you have to move around and cover up the holes as each pedestrian walks over them. The key mechanic you have to know in this one is that you have to be in the correct spot the moment the pedestrian moves onto the holes, although you can immediately move away once they make the transition. So, what's different in this version? There are a few things to go over, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of changes. The characters in general are a bit more detailed in this version, and there's a more detailed animation when the pedestrians fall into the sewers. Instead of just plopping into the water, we now see them get out and angrily wring out their shirt. The other big change comes with the fact that the Game & Watch games in general have changed when the life refreshes happen. Instead of seeing the lives refresh at 200 points, it now takes 300 points to see your lives refresh. This meant my goal has been changed from getting 200 points in both game modes to getting 300 points in both game modes. As always, I started with Game Mode A. My first run started awful. I lost my first life at 13 points and lost another at 21 points. Yeesh, what a terrible start. This run was going so bad that I just immediately ended it and tried again. Thankfully, my next run went better, but it still wasn't easy. I lost a life at 139 when I moved away from a spot too early, and I lost my second life at 221 points when I misjudged the order of the pedestrians. This meant that I had to get through the last 80 points without losing any lives, and this is usually around where things start to get really tough. Thankfully, I managed to pull it off, and I got to 300 points and saw the lives refresh. I kept going after this, but I lost all my lives pretty quickly. This game gets surprisingly tough when the pedestrians are covering the screen. Up next was Game Mode B. How much harder could it get? Turns out, it was quite a bit tougher. I lost a lot to this game mode. I guess those extra 100 points to get to 300 must make a huge difference in this version. With each run, I did make it a bit further than before, but man, it just seemed to take forever to get the hang of this one. In one of my runs, I had a painful loss at 292 points. On the next run after, I made it to the last 50 with all my lives still remaining. Surely I had this one, right? I did end up losing a life at 289 points, but come on, I had 2 more lives remaining and only 11 points left. Surely I had this one, right? Unfortunately, I somehow lost another life at 294 points. Come on now. I should be able to just get 6 points with my last life, but I was suddenly filled with a sense of dread. What if I somehow dropped this? Thankfully, my fears did not come to pass, and I made it to 300 points. I ended the run here, and with that, Game & Watch Manhole was finally complete. On to the review. So, how does this one compare to the original? Honestly, while this is still probably the better version, the actual gameplay changes are so small that it doesn't really feel all that different from the original. It's a decent time, but it struggles too much with having a slow start. I'm not really sure if this remake was necessary. At least the remake of Fire fixed up the way the scoring worked. I gave the game the same score as the original, a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more of these in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on the next one. Also leave a like if you enjoyed it, since it will help the channel grow and motivate me to continue this series. I hope I will see you in the next step of my quest to beat every Nintendo game.